Lesson 2.2, The Beginning of Unions. Collective bargaining is a process that involves both the employer and the employees. Generally, the employees are represented by a union. The union are used for wages, length of workday, benefits, and so on. Each side presents their expectations and works to come to an agreement. If the employer doesn't meet the union demands, strikes, picket lines, or planned sick days can occur. The employer might retaliate by temporarily laying off workers or launching a publicity campaign against the union. Each side works to have their rights met. The Great Railroad Strike of 1877 began after infuriated workers learned their wages were being cut for the second time in a year. The strikers refused to allow any cargo to move. In response, the governor of West Virginia sent in the state militia. The strike spread, and eventually battles broke out between strikers and soldiers across the nation. 45 days after its start, the Great Strike was stopped by federal troops. The Haymarket Affair involved a group of striking employees from McCormick Reaper Works and the Chicago Police. On May 3, 1886, police broke up a strike meeting with gunfire, killing and wounding several men. The next night, the crowd retaliated and threw a dynamite bomb at the police squad, killing one officer and hurting others. To stop the huge fight that erupted, policemen fired into the crowd. 7 police officers were killed that night, and an unknown number of strikers were killed as well. The incident is referred to as the Haymarket Affair. George Pullman, the owner of George Pullman's Palace Car Company, controlled not only his workers' wages but also their rent. When a recession forced him to cut wages, he decided not to lower rent. After a failed arbitration meeting with the union, Pullman's employees went on strike. For the most part, Pullman ignored the workers in the union, refusing to meet with them. Pullman appealed to the governor of Illinois and eventually to President Cleveland for help. Cleveland allowed federal troops to be used to control the strikers, inciting the wrath of many Americans. The strike was forcibly stopped by 12,000 federal troops. The workers did not receive the wage increase or rent reduction they'd asked for. The power unions gradually acquired hurt them in the long run. Employers began to refuse to recognize the unions as representatives of their workers. Workers who didn't always agree with the unions began to fear standing up to them. Management began to use the Sherman Antitrust Act, which protected interstate trade, to weaken the union's bargaining tools. If a company claimed that a strike or picket line interfered with interstate trade, the federal government could intervene. Although unions gradually lost power, skilled tradesmen still supported unions and continued to join.